Hey guys, it's Charlene. Today I'm sharing the brand new Mr. Frosty Comes to Town card kit from Picket Studios, and I'm going to show you how to make 3 cards. So let's look at what comes in the kit. First, you have this beautiful paper glitz and sparkle. It is so sparkly, you wouldn't believe it. And it also comes with this exclusive paper velvet in Nordic lights. Really beautiful blue. Then we've got some fun sequins. We've got snowflakes, and there's little clay snowflakes in there, as well as these fun foil trees. So look at this stamp set. Look at the snowman on there. He's so cute. This is called No One Else Like You, and it comes with lots of different fun sentiments, as well as a coordinating die set that works for the snowman and the sentiments. Love that. Also comes with a spatula to use with your mixed media. And the stencil is called Fancy Christmas Blending Stencils. You have these 2 pretty trees as well as several small snowflakes, which is nice. And then we have some winter snowflake dies. If you're like me, you love snowflakes and can't get enough of cute little snowflake dies. There are 4 of the silver snowflake die cuts, which are larger in size, and they are really pretty and sparkly. And then there is this beautiful pearlescent cardstock in black, blue, and pearl. Really pretty colors, going to go together super well, as you'll see later in the video. We have this beautiful cork fabric, which you can use to die cut, you can use for backgrounds, lots of fun stuff. And then there's also an exclusive sentiment card, which I didn't have in my kit, but will be coming in the kits that are ordered. So let's dive right into our first card. I'm starting off here with that giant snowman because he is too cute. I love him. He's got so much detail, and I'm really a big fan of these large stamps that take up the whole front of an A2 size card. It really makes making a card easy because you could stamp it on there and do some spotlight coloring. You could do full coloring. You could leave it in black and add a couple of details from your stash. There's just so many opportunities with a large stamp like this. Also, what's fun about these style of stamps is they have a lot of the shading already outlined where it needs to be, and that makes coloring them so much easier. Here you can see I am using some purples. I'm going to be using some blues as well, so I'm going with mostly cool tones here. For the scarf, I used V12, V15, and V17. And now I'm coming in here and I'm doing the earmuffs, and I'm using B00, B02, and B05. This would also be a really fun stamp to watercolor because you could do some heat embossing and then watercolor, and it would be so quick and easy. For the carrot nose, which is too cute, I used YR20 and YR15, and now I'm coming in and doing the hat. For the hat, I'm using 100, and then I'm using several of my cool grays. I think I use C3, C5, and C7. Oftentimes, if I'm trying to make a object black, I will start out with just a little bit of the 100, and then I mostly come in with my C7 and pull out the black color, because if you try to color something in all black, you're not going to get a lot of shading. So here I just use that 100 on the shaded areas, which is easy to see because of the stamp, and then I added in the cool grays to kind of pull out that dark color. For the little sash, I'm going back with my violets. I'm using the V12, V15, and V17 again. And for the holly, I've got some greens and reds. I'm using G14, G28, R14, and R27. That is a combo I use all the time during the holidays, so you'll see that on a lot of my cards. And now I'm coming in with some C1, and I'm just adding a little bit of shading to the snowman, which I think adds a lot. You just do it in those little spots where he has shading. And for the cheeks, I am using some R11, or no, R000 and R20. I like to use R11 a lot too for cheeks, but on this one I used R20. So once I'm done coloring that, I can go ahead and stamp out my sentiment. I am going to be heat embossing my sentiment on black cardstock. So you can see I went in with an anti-static powder tool, and I made sure to get a nice good coating. And then I'm stamping it with some VersaMark embossing ink. So once I have that on there, I'm putting on some white embossing powder. And I've been using the white and black Wow embossing powders lately, and I really like them. I have used the Ranger ones a lot in the past, and I find that the Wow brand tends not to stick as much to the cardstock, at least in my experience. So I use them both, but kind of using the Wow one a lot. So now I'm stamping my sentiment on the inside of the card, and now all I have left to do, it's really basic stuff. I'm going to put my sequins on there. I used the snowflakes that came with the kit. There's all these pretty shimmery colors that are kind of blue and pink and purple on those snowflakes, and then there's also white clay snowflakes in there, so it's a really beautiful mix, especially if you like cool colors. And I used the die cut there to cut out my sentiment, put it on the front with some foam tape, and now I just need to apply the card front to my card base, and that is it. There's the card. Very simple, but really stunning and cute. I love this snowman. I might keep this card for myself. I don't know. We'll see when the holidays come. So on to the second card. I'm starting out here with some tumbled glass distress oxide. I'm going to do some ink blending on the diagonal, and then I'm coming in with some salvaged patina. Next, I am going to be using some prize ribbon. So I'm going to do a blend of blues here. It's really pretty cool colors. You're going to notice that throughout the whole video. This is a cool color extravaganza. So once I was done with the prize ribbon, I went back in with some salvage patina and some tumbled glass just to blend all the colors together. Once I really liked how everything came together, I set it aside to dry, and then I used some of that gorgeous Nordic Lights paper velvet. Really pretty color. I like these new velvets. They are shimmery but not glittery, and they kind of have a matte finish when they dry, which is really pretty. It's not like in your face. Now, don't get me wrong, I like in-your-face bling. I'm not saying that. But it's nice to have a different option, especially because you can do kind of the matte shimmer in some areas, and then maybe you could do the snowflakes in glitz, or you could water down the glitz and splash it on your paper if you wanted to, all kinds of different options. So once it was completely dry, I waited until it was dry. I went ahead and cut it in half. I'm also cutting in half one of those snowflakes for later on. I keep a little spray bottle on my desk of water and some shimmer powder, and I'm just splashing that on there to get that fun kind of oxidize effect where you get the water droplets on there and they slightly turn white. So it's going for the look of snow, a really soft and subtle snow on the background. I did trim down the card panel off camera before I cut it in half. I trimmed it down so there was going to be about 1/16 of an inch around each edge, and you're going to see that'll make more sense once we put this on the card. For the card base, I took a piece of cardstock that was 8.5 inches, and I went ahead and cut it to 8.5 by 5.5, and then I scored the lengthwise. I scored at 2 1/8 on each side so that I could fold it in and get a gatefold card. You can see how it opens from the middle. So you're scoring in from the left, you're scoring in from the right, so that you can have those two flaps fold in both at 2 1/8 inch, so that it'll be 4 1/4 inches when you're done. Hopefully that makes sense. I did stamp out my sentiment onto a strip of cardstock. I'm using it as a belly band to keep my card closed. And so I've got some liquid adhesive. I've wrapped it around the card, and I'm just using that to close up the card. Now you do want to make sure that you have a little bit of wiggle room there so that your recipient can easily pull the belly band off as well as get it back onto the card. So just keep that in mind. And then I've used some more of those fun snowflakes around on the front, and I also put some of them on the belly band. These snowflakes are nice as well because I'm using the flat ones for the most part, so it's not going to impede removing the belly band off of the card. I like that a lot. All right, now our third and final card is going to be a slimline, and I love how this card looks when it's done with this pearlescent paper. So I've cut several strips that are the same size of the blue and the black pearlescent paper, and now I'm just coming along and applying them to a piece of cardstock that I have cut to 3 1/4 by 8 1/4. Later, I'm going to put that on top of a card base that's 3 1/2 by 8 1/2 for a traditional slimline size card. So now here's where that cut snowflake comes into play. I am adhering it with some liquid adhesive on top of my striped piece. And you can see off camera, I did cut off all of the excess parts from those strips of paper. And this is a really pretty contrast. You have this beautiful, shimmery, gorgeous snowflake, and it's got all these different angles, and it's really got a complex texture to it. And then you have that very stark striped background, and the two work so well together. I oftentimes forget to do the card strips on cards, but I've been using them a little bit more lately, and it's just such a pretty background effect, and it's really easy. Now I've got my sentiment, and that is going to be the focal point of this card. Normally there's an image that I really want people to be looking at that I think is very cute, but for this card, it's the sentiment. The sentiment says, "Wishing you sparkle, wishing you cheer, for a bright Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year." I think that's a beautiful sentiment, and it just looks perfect on the front of a slimline card. So I've used the coordinating die there to cut it out. I've popped it up with some foam tape, and you can see there how it takes the center show of that card. It looks really cute. And now I am putting my card panel onto my card base, and I've got that nice little thin white border all the way around, which I think adds a lot to this card. Now what the camera's not picking up really well is the pearlescence of the paper. You can kind of see it there, but it really helps to make the card. If you guys are interested in the card kit, I will link down below in the description to it. It is for a limited time, so definitely check that out if you are. Thanks for joining me today. Please be sure to like and subscribe, as well as hit the notification bell so I can continue bringing you more crafty content in the future. Until next time, happy crafting.